Walking down the streets, feeling the breeze. In the sunshine state where dreams come with ease. Palm trees swaying with the ocean in view. This is the place where I always feel brand new. Sipping on a smoothie, chilling by the shore. Got my shades on, feeling like I can't be ignored. Sun-kissed skin, feeling so alive in the soft rap game. I strive to thrive. Waves crashing on the sand as I ride the vibe. Soft rap flowing, let the rhythm collide. I'm the king of this groove with the catchy.
This is a true life story that happened to a Nigerian pastor on the 30th of April 2024. Few days ago made it 1 month that it happened. I felt so bad about the story and I had to confirm it myself via the horse's mouth. Reverend Dr. Israel Christilere is the senior pastor of Shepherd Hill Baptist Church, Obanikoro, Lagos, Nigeria, and the CEO of Oasis of Faith Intercontinental Limited. He is also the president of Christian Tourism Practitioners Association of Nigeria, which is the umbrella body of all the private pilgrimage operators in Nigeria. Something traumatic happened to him, and I will narrate his ordeal. This happened at the Egyptian Airlines. He rightly recounted. I left Lagos for Amman through Egyptian Airlines with a group of 28 pilgrims, and we had a stopover for 4 hours in Cairo before we boarded the second leg from Cairo to Amman. I took all my pilgrims to our connecting gate, H2, around 9 p.m. and having settled 26 of them there, myself and another woman who was on the trip, who was flying business class, left for the business class lounge. We were there in that lounge until 1 hour before our next flight, when I told her to let us go back to the gates since I saw the notification that the gate of our connecting flight was open. When we arrived, I saw the pilgrims seated and not going through the gate security checks. I asked them why, and they replied that they tried to, but they were asked to go and sit down and allow others to go through the check first. I then went to the counter and asked a young man I saw there if they were not attending to Amman passengers yet, and he confirmed that they were already doing that. So I told other pilgrims to rise up and let us go through the gate formalities to board our next flight. As we lined up to go through the formalities, I saw some policemen and some airport staff discussing, talking together. I wondered what they were talking about, and initially I thought it was about our documentation or visas that they wanted to confirm. After a little time, I was told to step aside and allow others to go to the security check. At that time, I knew we could do our own security check easily. That means myself and the other woman. So, I told her to wait for me while others can go through their security check. Some policemen then asked me to follow them to their office. At this time, I still assumed it had to do with our documentation. So, I brought all the documents relating to our trip and asked the woman to wait until I returned to the gates. They then took me to the office of the head of the police of the airport, and 3 police officers entered with me, while about 12 other officers were outside looking at us through the door, which was left open. So the chief police officer asked if I know what offense I had committed. I wondered what the offense was and replied I had not committed any offense. Then they brought a man in as an interpreter who told me in English language that a lady had just accused me of sexual assault and the punishment was jail and I should be ready to go to jail. My first comment was, who, when, where, and how? Then they pointed to a lady who decided to hide her face behind another lady when I tried to look at her direction. I told the interpreter I have never seen the lady talk less of talking with her. The police chief said, in our country, we believe the word of any woman as true, and that means with or without evidence, you are guilty. He then said there was a video evidence. When I heard that there was a video evidence, I was relieved and I requested for the video evidence. He later said there was no need for the video evidence because it will make me miss my flights unless I agreed to their offered solution. I made it clear that if they had any video evidence, they would not find me there, for I've been at the business class lounge for 3 hours, and I had an alibi among my pilgrims who was there with me in the lounge till we left for the gates. Then they said there was a witness, and immediately a young man came forward and stated that he was a witness to the assaults. I asked him where and when, but there was no answer. The police chief then said that since there was a witness, I could only go if I accepted the solution he will offer. I asked what was the solution. He then said I must apologize to the lady in a way that she will accept. I then asked, how do I apologize for what I had not done? He insisted that if I did not apologize, I shall be charged to court. I then tried to look in the direction of the lady who was still hiding her face behind another lady and said, Lady, I have never met you. I have no idea of what you are talking about, but possibly someone else had attacked you and you mistook me for the person. Nevertheless, sorry to you if you are offended anyway, but let it be known that I have no idea of what you are saying. The police chief then turned towards a man who was said to be her boss if my apology was accepted, and he said it was okay. The police chief then said I should follow him to another office and leave my hand luggage behind. I objected to that idea by saying I cannot leave my bag behind because the rule of every airport is that passengers must always be with their luggage. I cannot leave my luggage behind. Around this time, I began to decide that they were up to something. They were trying to look for every means to set me up. When we got to the other office, I was asked to wait outside. When the police chief and other officers entered, at this time, I told myself that if these people succeeded, there was no way to free myself. I was totally isolated from my pilgrims, who were supposed to be boarding the next flight, and I could not understand their conversation, which they were making in Arabic. I then picked up my phone, pressed the record button, and kept the phone back in my pocket. At least, that would be my only evidence in the future. After a while, I was invited into the office, and I was asked to come and sign a document that they had prepared in Arabic. And I refused to sign because I told them I did not know what they had written. That would be stupid of me as an educated person. They said if I did not sign, I would go to jail. They said it does not matter, that what they actually wrote was just a settlement, and I still said no. To the glory of God, I have spent over 25 years of my life studying up to PhD level. I cannot sign what I do not know. The police chief then got angry and shouted me down and said, you will miss your flights, and I will detain you and charge you to court the following morning. Then I said to him, if God says I will go to jail for an offense I did not commit, so be it. But I will not sign unless I know what was written. Then the so-called interpreter offered to read the content to my hearing, and I told him that I could not trust his reading. I insisted I could only sign if they rewrite it in English. When they began to pressure me, I took the biro and wrote below the Arabic write-up, I do not know. I planned to write below, I do not know what was written above, but I am compelled to sign this document. Therefore, I am not aware of the contents above. But when they saw me writing, I do not in English. One of the officers snatched the biro from me and shouted me down. The police chief then insisted if I did not sign, I would miss my flight, which would have taken off, and they would detain me and charge me to court the following morning. Then an idea came to my mind. Since I succeeded in writing I do not know below the Arabic, it speaks volume. So I picked the biro again and wrote my surname. While doing that, the desk manager of the checking counter came in and talked to them in Arabic. Like magic, they handed over my passport to me and asked him to take me to the aircraft. I did not understand the magic words that effected my release until I got to the tarmac. Right at the foot of the aircraft, I saw all my 27 pilgrims standing at the entrance of the aircraft. They had refused to board the plane unless their leader was released. Against all pleas and threats, even from the pilots who told them he would take off without them, they refused to enter the aircraft unless their leader was released. Now I know that was my saving grace. The refusal of 27 persons who had already checked in to enter the plane frustrated their plots. That was the report the desk manager brought to the syndicate. This was the story of the Nigerian pastor. I don't really know what to say. This is so disheartening. What exactly is going on? Is it because we are Africans? What exactly is happening? Egypt, are you in Africa or you just want to identify as Africa? You need to decide right now, because enough of this. I know that this is not just the only one that had happened. A lot of people are facing crimes that they did not commit. A lot of people had gone to jail outside Nigeria or outside Africa simply for offenses that they did not commit. Our government will need to rise up on this. Africans, we really need to work on this. We need to rise up on this. Egypt, what exactly is going on? Why did your people do what they did? I don't really know. My dear audience, I would love you to tell me your mind on the comment section, because I don't really know where to start. However, I want to applaud my Nigerians. This is the spirit of patriotism. Our people know how to defend one another. They would have gone. If they had left him there, I'm telling you the simple truth, he wouldn't have been released. I do tell people that the miracle you are looking for lies in the hands of people around you. I will also say this. It is good to be smart. There are things that we learned from the story. There are lessons learned from the story. First, you need to be smart. Despite being educated, he applied wisdom, because if he had signed the document, it would have been another thing, because he did not know what was written. Another point is the fact that he had to mind his business. You know, if he had been those kind of people that are wayward, he would have been confused upon accusation. Another point is the fact that his brothers, in brotherhood we stand. That is in our new national anthem. They stood for their brother. This is commendable. And I want to say thank you all to every Nigerian, to all the pilgrims who stood their ground despite the threats and decided to protect our brother. I want to say thank you to everybody. I also want to hear from my people that are listening to me right now. What are your thoughts on this? Because this is so bad. If not that our brother escaped their setup, if not that our brothers frustrated their plans, who knows what would have happened? And who knows what is going on? And I do tell people, gradually the truth is coming out. They will all be exposed. All of them that chose to victimize we Nigerians, they will all be exposed one by one. This is Qinspride.